On the Senate floor Thursday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer voiced his support for the Respect for Marriage Act. This comes after the Supreme Court's landmark ruling to overturn Roe v. Wade, which ended federal abortion protections across all 50 states. In a concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas suggested the court should reconsider rights like birth control and same-sex marriage in future decisions. Schumer believes passing the Respect for Marriage Act is critical, quote, so that no American is discriminated against because of whom they love.
Now, Mr. President, 4 words are inscribed in the stone above the United States Supreme Court: equal justice under law. Equal justice under law. In many ways, the story of America has been about making those words true for all Americans. Sometimes we take bold steps forward. Other times, unfortunately, we take disturbing steps backward. We all know when the Constitution was written, there was not equal justice under law. That's pretty obvious. So many people were excluded from voting and other rights. But we have tried to move forward, and that's one of the beautiful things about America. We keep moving forward. We push. But unfortunately, today, America finds itself in one of those frightening moments of regression. A few months ago, tens of millions of women saw their fundamental right to choose taken away before their very eyes. Justice Thomas, in a concurring opinion, suggested that other rights, like the freedom to marry protected in Obergefell, might come next. The mere thought should make us sick to our stomachs. The Senate has a responsibility now to act. Because of this threat, the Senate will hold a vote on the Respect for Marriage Act in the coming weeks, so that no American is discriminated against because of whom they love. My colleagues, Senator Baldwin, Sinema, and others, have worked for months to build bipartisan support for this legislation. I applaud them for their efforts. I hope that we'll get at least 10 Republicans to join us to pass marriage equality through the Senate. If the Respect for Marriage Act can win significant Republican support in the House, there's no legitimate reason for Republicans in this chamber to stand in the way. Over the past few weeks, we've heard many on the other side say, well, this vote isn't necessary. They say marriage equality is not something Americans spend a lot of time thinking about anymore. They want us to believe that the Supreme Court would never do something as reckless as reversing the precedent of marriage equality that millions have relied on for years. Well, where, oh where, have we heard that before? The very same people who suggested that Roe was established precedent now want us to think that the Supreme Court won't go further, even though a sitting justice on the highest court in the land openly said something to the contrary, and he's often joined by 4 others. Mr. President, lest we forget, marriage equality was not the law of the land a decade ago. Discrimination against LGBTQ Americans still continues to this day. Now, MAGA Republicans have escalated their rhetoric against same-sex marriage and want to normalize gender discrimination. MAGA Republicans seem to make it their business to pick on certain groups, not to do things that are positive and move things forward, but to sort of just point their fingers at someone and blame them for some abstract reason that really doesn't hurt them at all. That's where this Republican Party, unfortunately, too many of them are headed, led by these MAGA Republicans and often fomented by former President Trump. Earlier this year, here's what I'm talking about. This isn't pie in the sky. The Texas Republican GOP earlier this year even adopted a party platform. This is of the largest Republican state in the country, the one with the most congressional delegates, congressional representatives. The Texas GOP adopted this year a party platform that said, quote, homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice. Let me repeat that. The largest Republican state in the country, its Republican Party, captured by MAGA fervor, absurd fervor, said homosexuality is an abnormal lifestyle choice. Just yesterday, and we know what, just yesterday, a judge said that employers can deny access to medication if they believe it would encourage homosexuality. And we all know that these MAGA Republicans and their ilk, led by this man named Leonard Leo, with billions of dollars of dark money, use the courts to move America backward. Move the courts to move America backward. And that's what happened yesterday with this judge coming up with this absurd, obnoxious, despicable resolution. I trust that that radical view of that judge and of that Texas GOP is not something many of us embrace here in this chamber. But we can't act as if our fundamental rights will stay safe if we aren't willing to safeguard them through legislation. If we're going to let these MAGA judges, right-wing, appointed by Leonard Leo and the Federalist Society, if we're not going to let them move America backward, then we have an obligation to act. So let me make clear that a vote on marriage equality will happen on the Senate floor in the coming weeks, and I hope there will be at least 10 Republicans to support it. On the related subject, obviously, of judges, today the Senate will continue fulfilling its constitutional duty to confirm more judges to sit on our federal judiciary. It's really been a productive week here on the floor when it comes to judges. Yesterday, we confirmed John Lee to serve a lifetime appointment as circuit judge on the 7th Circuit, the first Asian American to ever sit on that court. Today, we'll confirm another circuit judge, Andre Mathis, to sit on the 6th Circuit. When confirmed, Mathis would be the 78th judge we have confirmed under President Biden. More than President Trump, more than President Obama, more than President Bush had confirmed up to this point. It's a great record. We're proud of it. And we aren't done. Later this afternoon, we'll begin working on our third Circuit Court Judge of the Week, Salvador Mendoza, to sit on the 9th Circuit. After we vote on cloture today, members should expect to vote on his confirmation as early as the beginning of next week. Moving forward, it will be one of our top priorities to confirm as many judges as possible. It's one of the best things we can do with our time here on the floor, especially given how many MAGA-type judges President Trump and the Republican majority appointed. The lion's share of legal disputes never make it to the Supreme Court, giving those who preside in the lower courts immense power to affect the lives of the American people. And, of course, when they get it wrong, as they have all too frequently recently, the results can be disastrous. Just yesterday, a hard-right judge in Texas, as I mentioned, stripped away Americans' rights to access preventative care. Over 150 million Americans could now be at risk of losing everything from breast cancer screenings to cholesterol screenings, free vaccinations, mental health assessments, and so much more. Add that to the previous case I mentioned before, and you can see that judges are out of control, far away from what most Americans want, fostered upon us by the Republican Senate majority, President Trump, and a small band of right-wing MAGA billionaires. In the long run, this decision could mean more people get sick or die needlessly simply because they can't afford preventative care to stay healthy. That is the kind of thing that is at stake when it comes to judges. It's a frightening reminder of the difference between our side and the hard right, the MAGA hard right, the extreme MAGA hard right. Whether through judges or legislation, the hard right remains obsessed with stripping away people's rights to affordable health care. It's dangerous, it's malicious, it's wildly out of step with the American people. Democrats want something different. We want to protect people's health care, not destroy it. We want judges who will preserve long-established precedent, not obliterate it, who will move us forward on our fight to equality, not take steps backward. And in the coming weeks and months, we will maintain a laser-like focus on confirming judges who will do the kinds of things that we believe must be done in America. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.